They cast off little by little. They cast off little by little private duties. Private duties. They cast off little by little. I want you to notice that both step 1 and 2, we keep mentioning little by little because it's not sudden. Your enemy, the devil, knows if he makes things too sudden, you will realize what's happening. So he makes it little by little, little by little. They say when a rat is eating you, it takes a small bite, then little by little, so that you don't realize you're being chowed. So they cast off little by little private spiritual duties. They cast off little by little private duties such as closet prayer. Closet prayer. Daily devotion. Controlling the lusts. Closet prayer. Daily devotion. Controlling the lusts. And sorrow for sin. Now let's explain them. When you are in an active relationship with God, one of the things that's prominent about your life is your closet prayer. Closet prayer means that prayer life which other people don't know about. Isn't it? There's a prayer life which we all know about. That happens when we are praying together and we see you praying. We see you attending prayer meetings. We see you attending Bible studies. We know about that. But when you are in a real relationship with Christ, there's a certain prayer habit which we know nothing of. You see, that's what we call closet prayer, secret prayer. Those moments when you are alone with God and there's no one else. When you are in a living relationship with Christ, it means you have moments alone with God. That's what we also call daily devotion. In the second step of backsliding, that's one of the things that begins to die. All of a sudden, it begins to feel like it's not that important for you to spend time in daily devotion. That's the second step of backsliding. So when people are in the second step of backsliding, you find out that this guy or this lady used to wake up every morning at 3 a.m. or 2 a.m. or 5 a.m. to spend time with God. When they're in the second step of backsliding, they start absconding. Sometimes you wake up, then the other day, you're too tired. You start giving excuses to not have that daily devotion. You need to be careful. You're in the second step of backsliding. How do we know this? It's not because we are saying your life should be governed by legalistic rules or religious rules. What we're simply saying is, if you're in a relationship, let's even speak in the natural course. If you're in a relationship with a woman, and then the two of you regularly meet, maybe let's say every Friday, you go out for tea. 3 p.m. every Friday, you guys go out for tea. If for the next 3 weeks she starts telling you stories, you call her and you say, I'm at the coffee cafe area there. I'm waiting for you. Where are you? And she starts giving you excuse after excuse. The first 2 times, you will believe her. The third time, you must begin to smell a rat. This person is no longer interested in these things. You can't be too busy for something that you love. Experience has taught us. No? Yeah. You will remember, in my last relationship, I saw this kind of crap. You know what's going to happen? Isn't it the first 2 times he will be waiting for you and then you won't show up? The third time, you won't show up. 4th time, he might notice somebody else. That's how relationships eventually collapse. Because you know what's said, man? They're what we call competitors. Because you might not be the only girl who likes this person. The other girl will jump a fence 2 a.m. at night, sacrifice to be there. In the meantime, you're giving excuse after excuse. That one, when it's raining, they jump. Without an umbrella, they come. That person's heart will now, but... Yeah. So with our relationship with God, remember, God does not demand for you to wake up at 3 a.m. every day. Okay? You might be waking up at 3 a.m. to pray every day. She doesn't wake up at 3 a.m. to pray every day. That does not mean you love God more than this person. It's simply a commitment which you have made for your relationship with God. So when you stop praying at 3 a.m. every day, you are backsliding. She's not. Because she didn't have a commitment to pray at 3 a.m. every day. You are the one with the commitment. So it's not about how much time are you spending. It's about commitment. Are you breaking a commitment or not? If I decide I only fast once a year, it's fine. But if I usually fast every month and then I stop doing it, I'm backsliding because I'm breaking a commitment. So that's how it is with God and with relationships with other people in general. It's not that it's wrong, but it's just a matter of commitment issues. It means so your commitment is dropping somewhere. It's little by little you're starting to break all your commitments. And every relationship works with commitment. You don't want to be in a love relationship with someone who's not committed. Even when they do come, they look like they really didn't want to be here. Do you know that? Wait, I think we need to emphasize this. It's okay for you to have a commitment in your relationship with God or with other people and you say, every day at 3 a.m. we meet. That's good, but it's not good enough. Even when you meet, you must want to be there. Because there's nothing more terrible than to be with someone whom you can already see. They wish they were somewhere else. Yeah. It's the same with God. When you're praying and your heart is not there, I always say, make sure your heart is there, otherwise don't do it. You'd rather call and say, guys, I'm not coming to the faith workshop. I won't make it. When you do something, make sure your heart is there. Otherwise, you might as well not do it. If you want to keep your commitment to God, even when your feelings are not in agreement, you don't feel like maybe you're tired or whatever, you need to work on your feelings. Because if you don't work on your feelings, it's only a matter of time before you stop doing it altogether. So you need to work on it. So let's say you're in a relationship with somebody. Like, let's go back to our example of meeting for tea every Friday. When you get to a point where you no longer feel like doing this thing, you need to communicate. Maybe make a different arrangement because you're no longer feeling it. Make a different arrangement because if you don't and you keep going, it means now you're going to get to a point where the commitment is just going to fall apart. If I feel like waking up at 3 a.m. to pray every day is no longer working for me, I don't feel it anymore. There's no harm in me communicating with my lover, Jesus Christ, to make a different arrangement. I'm going to, instead of 3 a.m., I'm going to pray at 9 a.m. because that's when I'm free. I have more time. Because if I don't do that, it's going to become a burden until I completely break that commitment. Then I go to step number 3 of backsliding. So that's what we call in the step number 2 of backsliding. Little by little, they start casting off these private duties of private prayer. What was the other one we mentioned? Controlling the lust. We all have spiritual battles with our flesh, which other people know nothing about. We are all fighting the lust of the flesh in one form or another, which other people don't know about. So every single day, before I go to sleep, there's something that Nsuku mentioned there. Sorrow for sin. When you're in step number 2 of backsliding, you no longer feel sorrow for sin, which means you go to sleep every night and it doesn't bother you that you treated somebody badly that day. It means now you're in step number 2 of backsliding. Because now there's so much stuff which you're doing wrong and you go to sleep without thinking twice. It doesn't bother you. So which means if your relationship with God is on fire, you are at a point where it bothers you when you've done something which is not right. You cannot sleep until you've apologized. You lose your sleep until you call that person and apologize to say, listen, because I was wrong when I said such and such. But people who are in step number 2 of backsliding, they cannot be bothered. Even when you tell them, I didn't like what you said, they're not moved. That's step number 2. Do you feel like you've ever been in step number 2 of backsliding? So many times. So you begin to work on yourself because now you can see the signs. Now, in step number 3 of backsliding, They avoid the company of friends who are devoted to a life of discipline and holiness. When somebody is in step number 3 of backsliding, they start avoiding the company of friends who are devoted to a life of holiness and discipline. Those friends who are devoted to a life of holiness and discipline, when they start looking for you, you start giving them excuses. You can no longer make it. Who are devoted to a life of holiness and discipline. You start avoiding friends who will question your misbehavior. Is that important? When someone is in step number 3 of backsliding, they start avoiding those people who will not fail to correct you. Holiness and discipline, yes. We all need friends who will put us in order. You see, you don't want friends who will watch your life falling apart and say nothing. You need to be surrounded by friends who will tell you you are going in the wrong direction, my brother. Put yourself in order. There are some friends who will watch you falling apart and do nothing. Then there are those who will help you. Okay, let's move away from spirituality and talk about finances. There are friends who will see you falling apart financially and do something to help you. And tell you, you know what? There's a company somewhere that's hiring people. Why don't you give me your CV? I take it over there. They'll do their best to help you. How much money do you need? 200,000 for this project. Okay, you know what? I'll make a plan. You need such friends in order to come out of poverty, right? Or if you're already rich, you need such friends in order for you to never become broke. You need to be surrounded by friends who are devoted to making sure you're also rich, right? Spiritual is the same thing. You need to be surrounded by people who are devoted to making sure we all make it to heaven. You need a friend who, like I've said this before, there was a time when something bad happened in my life, and it broke my faith so much until there's a friend of mine. He came to me and he said, I always used to see you praying every night in the field. I always used to catch you during break time reading your Bible. But now I'm observing you're no longer doing these things. What's going on, my brother? He came and he offered to help me. I haven't seen you reading the Bible, and you used to read the Bible so much. And I opened up to him and told him, listen, I'm very disappointed in God. God let me down. And then he counseled me and prayed with me. You need such friends. Because if that friend did not do what he did, I think by now I probably would not be in a living relationship with Christ. My question to you is this. Do you have somebody in your life who will call you every once in a while to find out if you're still reading the Bible, to find out if you're still praying? If you don't have such friends, you need to make such friends.